to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And now this year's speaker, every year we have a speaker, which I think is a wonderful thing that we do here. This year's speaker has been a part of the Hollyhock Lane Parade as a participant for 60 years. That's 60 of the 88 years that we've been running the parade. The last 50 of those, he's been on a unicycle. I think you all saw him at the beginning of the parade today, and I've seen him over the years. But I didn't know that he's been doing it for 50 straight years, 50 years in a row. So that sounds like a world record to me. So friends and neighbors, please welcome John Westra. He spun his 50th Hollyhock Lane Parade on his unicycle today, accompanied by his son Michael. And then he had a contingent of grandchildren and family accompanying him, who I think he wishes and expects to follow suit, right? So pretty soon we'll see quite a few unicyclers moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, John Westra, our speaker today.
Is everybody having a good time? So I don't know how to introduce myself any better than I was introduced. I want to give Simon Vance, our MC, and Eric Doyle, our parade chair. I'm not sure where Eric is. And all the volunteers, yeah, that's right, raise it up. All the volunteers who make this parade possible, a round of applause. I'd also like to thank my family, friends, and each one of you who have given me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you very much. As was mentioned, for 88 years, more than 1/3 of our republic's history, we the people have gathered as part of the oldest continuously held community 4th of July parade in Michigan to celebrate Independence Day, right? 88 years. I began my own participation in the Hollyhock Lane Parade 60 years ago, pulled in a little red wagon by my beloved sister, who unfortunately is not here today. But that was my first experience with the parade, and as many of the small children that I saw today, many in similar wagons, were looking around, it was a beautiful experience. For the last 50 years, I've participated on my unicycle. My youngest son, Michael, who is a member of the United States Air Force, and my son, Joshua, who is a veteran of the Air Force, were there to witness those 50 years, as well as the rest of my family and many of you. Michael actually got a start, by the way, riding on my shoulders. So, yeah, right? I don't know if I could do that with him anymore. When I first decided to ride my unicycle in the Hollyhock Lane Parade, I didn't know if I would make it. Like our nation's founding, it was a bold experiment, fraught with peril. For me, failure meant some skinned knees or maybe a broken arm if I was really unlucky. I didn't do either. For our nation's founders, failure or even success meant the possibility of death. Thankfully, both these experiments succeeded, and as a result, we are all gathered here to celebrate. That doesn't mean that there haven't been failures along the way. Countries, like the people who inhabit them, are flawed. It's how we handle our failures, both individually and as a nation, that matters. If we give up when we fall short or start to believe that failure is inevitable, we will fail and we will give up. Generations of men and women have fought and died to preserve our liberties, the liberties that we are enjoying here today. Each of them swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I believe the same powerful enemies of goodness that have sought to enslave mankind throughout recorded history seek to replace this magnificent experiment in liberty and justice for all with absolute control over every one of our lives. And any who defy them, while rejecting any accountability for them, are punished. Our nation was born from the dream that we could do better. That dream is echoed through history in the words and deeds of people like I'm about to mention. John Adams, our second president, who said, "There is nothing which I dread so much as a division of the republic into two great parties, each arranged under its own leadership and concerting measures in opposition to one another. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution." Clara Barton, called the angel of the battlefield for her role as a caregiver in the Civil War, for her first aid and heroism in the Civil War, and later for her championing what we know now as the Red Cross. George Washington Carver, an African-American scientist, educator, and inventor who, despite being born to parents who were slaves, became one of the most well-known agricultural experts of his day. He said, "When our thoughts, which bring actions, are filled with hate against anyone, we are all in a living hell that is as real as hell will ever be." Dwight D. Eisenhower, former five-star general who helped defeat Hitler in World War II and stepped down from his role as president the same year I was born, in his farewell speech warned us about government being corrupted by the influence of the military-industrial complex and the danger of, quote, allowing public policy to become captive of the scientific and technological elite. That was in 1961. Martin Luther King Jr., for whom is named the park just west of us and the boulevard just to our north, a clergyman, an activist, and prominent leader in the African-American civil rights movement, said, "I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." I'll end with a quote from one of my favorite presidents, Ronald Reagan, whose signature I'm proud to have on both a Red Cross Certificate of Merit as well as a letter thanking me for my assistance in helping win the Cold War against the former USSR, now known as Russia. In 1981, he said, "It is time for us to realize that we are too great a nation to limit ourselves to small dreams. We are not, as some would have us believe, doomed to inevitable decline. I do not believe in a fate that will fall on us no matter what we do. I do believe in a fate that will fall on us if we do nothing. So with all the creative energy at our command, let us begin an era of national renewal. Let us renew our determination, our courage, and our strength. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say we are in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. So take a minute and look around you. This place is filled with heroes who put aside their differences for a morning to celebrate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I urge all of us to leave this place today with a renewed commitment to focus not on our differences or the things we disagree about, but on working together to preserve what has made this nation great and make it better for generations to come. It's sometimes hard to find balance, but believe me when I tell you, it's worth it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.